I'd like to call this meeting of the Chadron City Council order. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As required by Section 84-1412, subsection 8 of the Nebraska statutes, notice is hereby given that a copy of the Opens Meeting Act is posted for your examination on the wall inside the door to the City Council chambers. And before we have a roll call, I'd like to welcome all of our guests here this evening. It's good to see all of you. Could we have a roll call, please?
George Klein.
Here.
Shane Shepard.
Here.
Mark Graves.
Here.
Kevin Alexi.
Here.
Clay Anderson, absent.
Could we have a motion for approval of the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Kevin to approve the agenda. Could we have a roll call, please?
Graves.
Yes.
Alexi.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Shepard.
Yes.
Could we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve of the consent agenda. I'll second.
Motion by Shane, seconded by Kevin to approve the consent agenda. It includes minutes for the City Council meeting of October 20th, minutes from the PRT meeting that was held September 24th of this year. In compliance with state rules, we have a annual occupation tax report and a memorandum from Michelle Stoke, the finance officer for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2025. Special designated licenses that were administratively approved. One for the Bean Broker Coffee House and Pub for Ladies' Night Out at the hospital, for the hospital at the Dawes County Fairgrounds on November 1st. And Niobrara Valley Vineyards Kris Kringle Christmas Boutique at the Dawes County Fairgrounds on December 6th. And that's all. Anyone have any questions? General public might be interested in occupation tax report. This is the first year that we've had the lodging occupation tax, and for the September 30th year end, we took in $52,960.38. And I believe that started October 1st, but they're, with the filing, the way it works out, that'd be 1 month short, so that'd be an 11-month period of receipts, I believe. And Michelle's not here to correct me, but I just thought you might be interested, so. Any other questions that anybody has? If not, could we have a roll call, please?
Graves.
Yes.
Alexi.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Shepard.
Yes.
Okay. Next on the agenda, introduction of a new Parks and Cemetery employee.
I guess I'm going to introduce everybody tonight, so I'll just stand up here.
Okay.
One at a time. We'll go through them. But I'm pleased to introduce Brandon Hartzell. He's working, as George said, in the Parks Cemetery Department. I'm going to turn the mic over to you, Brandon, and you get to tell him a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I just moved down here from Oregon just in April, and I've just been trying to get a good way of how this living down here is and stuff like that. And,
You moved from where?
Oregon.
Oregon?
Yeah. It's a lot different down here. We're a little bit colder.
What part of Oregon?
Over Ontario, so right next to Idaho and everything. But I'm enjoying the parks and cemetery job right now and just learning everything. I like that I get to do stuff that I could actually go and do in the future and at home and stuff like that. Actually useful stuff like everything. And I like to learn all the big machinery and all that good stuff. But
One of the first things that Brandon got to do was help pour concrete one day. I heard that you were very impressed with that.
yeah, yeah, that was very interesting. I've never been around concrete, so it was very eye-opening, and I got to learn a lot. So it was cool.
My first job out of college, was in the park cemetery as well. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like being outside too.
Okay,
Yeah, is that it?
very good.
Thank you.
Well,
Welcome aboard.
welcome.
Thank you.
So
Then,
Holly's our next one.
introduction of our new aquatic center supervisor.
So this is Holly Reel. She's been on the job, I think, 2 weeks-ish.
Yep.
So she's still figuring stuff out, but I'll let her tell you about herself too.
Oh boy, didn't know that there was gonna be a speech involved. Well, I went to school here in 2024. I moved to Chadron, went to college. I graduated in 18 with a graphic design degree. Then I went back to school and I have another degree in art education from here. Graduated December 23 and did all the teaching stuff. I wear many hats. So decided that being back in my hometown wasn't my thing. Just missed Chadron, so I came back and was looking for something decent to help pay for the family because I've got a family of 5. So gotta keep a salary and stability. But the aquatic center is definitely something different. I'm enjoying it a lot. Don't have to just sit there and twiddle my thumbs. I actually have something to do every day that's new and exciting. So I'm excited to get trained to do all the things and see what's in store. So, thanks.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then last, we have Autumn Calkins. Autumn is in the HR department. So I'll let her tell you about herself also.
Hello, I'm Autumn Calkins, and I started last Monday, and it's kind of been trial by fire. We've had a lot of things going on in the first week, but it's gone very well. I've had previous jobs in Chadron where I worked at Western Community Health Resources for 13 years, and then I was at High Plains CDC for 7 years, and now I'm here. So
I have known Autumn
since I'm college.
since college, and she's a good hire, very good hire.
We're pleased. We're very
Yeah.
pleased.
Thank you.
Autumn.
Yep.
Very good.
So next time when we have a meeting, we'll probably introduce a couple more new employees.
Yeah.
Seems to be the trend right now. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a result of the last meeting when we had a discussion about the grant that has been, that the Library Foundation secured to do some renovation of the existing library. And there was some talk about possibility of appointing 2 council members to a steering committee for library projects, for this library project. So I think we have some people in attendance that might want to talk to us about this and before we take any action. And if there, no one wants to get up, I would give you my opinions, but well, Drew came and talked to me, and I think he's talked to the other council members individually, and we can make a decision, but I get the gist that this is going to happen. My vice mayor here has looked at the library, did some work on it, and that information was been passed on to design engineer. I'd call him for tomorrow, or is going to be passed on to a design engineer and get this process going. So I don't know as if we need to appoint anybody else to kind of muddle up the items. If we hear anything, that things aren't proceeding as they should, and of course it's, you know, we hire, the city council appoints the members of the library board, and the foundation is an auxiliary organization, and bless their hearts, designed to help with finances for the library. So, and I put everything in perspective, so unless we wouldn't be doing our job as a city council, in my opinion, if we didn't trust the people that are on the library board. And if we do trust them, then we let them go ahead with the project. That's my opinion.
I feel you said everything I was gonna say. I just feel if we can't back our library board that the city council appointed, it's injustice for us, for them, and I just feel that there's, in these small communities, there's a lot of boards that there's no payment or anything like that you're making, and if we can't trust them to do the work that we appointed them for, then why even have them? So I have full confidence in our library board, and that we'll get this project move forward in a timely manner.
From last meeting, there was definitely seemed like there was some division between the foundation and the board, but ultimately sounded like they wanted, at this juncture, the same thing. They wanted to get the checklist done, that the grant needed it done, but in a way that made sense, that they weren't overlooking certain amenities that would be needed. So I'm kind of on board with the other two council members that I think they want the same thing. I don't think we need to get involved at this time, but I would like to see a follow-up maybe next month to make sure things are on track. And, you know, hopefully we can keep hands off, stay hands off. But if we need to get involved, we definitely don't want to lose that grant funding, and we want to make sure that it gets spent appropriately. So that's my 2 cents.
I think I'm largely in agreement. I said at the last meeting that it sounded to me like everybody wants the same thing. We might just have slightly different maps for how we're going to get there. I hope the conversation stays open, and like Mark said, I hope we hear back next month on progress. So.
Is that okay, Adam, if we just do nothing?
Yeah,
I'm pretty good at doing nothing.
it is your decision.
Unless there's any comment that anyone would like to.
Come,
I thank you for your consideration of this. We're getting a little nervous. It's taken a long time. We wish that Shane had been on board a little sooner to put out his recommendations. So so now it's up to the contractors. So we need your support with us on all that. So as we go forward, and we thank you for your consideration of this, and we plan to work. We've been trying to work with the library board, and we just keep reminding them that we can't add on things until we get the main grant items taken care of first. So we appreciate the input that we've gotten recently. Thank you.
Can I ask something?
Mr. Stevens,
Okay,
please.
I will.
And I forgot to have Susie tell us who she was.
I'm Nelson Stevens, and I have no party in any of this, but I just have a question as a taxpayer. Let's say we get into the middle of these contracted projects. Contracts are signed, so they're committed to them, and they're not fulfilled and can't be paid by the grants because they're not invoiced and paid on time, and it all falls through at the last minute. Then who is going to pay those contractors? Where does that money come from? Is that going to be city taxpayer money that pays it off because the grant was lost? I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just thinking through this process. Because as a homeowner, getting a bid just on a single item on my home and getting it done in a timely manner is very difficult. The laundry list I heard at the last meeting is quite extensive, and it looks like it can maybe be done, but if things fall through the cracks and the invoices aren't rendered and paid in time and the grant falls through and we don't get the grant money, then who's going to pay those bills to the contractors? That's my concern.
Well, I don't think the grant is all or nothing. Is that, am I thinking about that wrong? If you utilize 800 of the $900,000, you just have to give back the 100,000, is that?
Okay, that, I'll sit down. I just had that question.
Yes, please. Okay.
Thanks for asking that, because it's a good question, an excellent question, actually.
From an outside party, that's the one I would have.
Yeah. Well, the residents of the community are an inside party.
That's true. Yeah.
So I'm Marguerite Fay Miller. I am not on the library board or the foundation board, although I previously have been on the foundation board, and I am the author of the shovel-ready grant. And Lori Schmidt is the one who assisted me with that, so she's fully versed in what goes on. I know this grant inside and out, given that I wrote it. I also know the contract inside and out. And to answer this gentleman's question, the money has been awarded. We have till the end of December of '26 to have everything completed. Completed means not just the work completed, but invoices paid and return of the check that has to be submitted, copies have to be submitted to the Department of Economic Development, both the front and the back of the check. And all that has to take place by the end of December. And there's still... Of 2026, right. So basically you have a year. To answer the question, what happens if the money is not spent? So the money's been awarded, it will just disappear. You'll lose it. And so that is the big question and the major concern. It's a big concern I have in terms of, the contract. And DED has even said, DED being Department of Economic Development, has even said, you still have a lot to do, and we are very much aware of that. So the city would not be liable for anything unless there was, I would think, it's up to the contractors to have to get everything in place in terms of, what they do and, the timeline, and it's their responsibility to do that. The contractor, it all goes with the city bidding process. And so, which it has from the very beginning. So it takes place with, all the requirements of the bidding process as outlined by the city. Bids are open with the city, at the city, with Janet, and then a bid is awarded. And as usual with bids, there's a time frame with it, and somebody has to stay on to that particular contractor to make sure that, you know, they follow along with the timeline. Now, I know Shane has offered a number of areas that need to be corrected at the library. Some of those coincide with what's in the grant, some of them do not. And according to the Department of Economic Development, we can only pay for out of the grant what was written in the grant for repairs or renovations, however you want to look at it. Now that list, I didn't just pull out of the air that list of work to be done on the library. That was a list that was generated at the city level with the understanding from the library board. They approved that. I just didn't make it up. That's not my, purview to do that. And so I just copied that. It was in 3 tiers. We took tier 1 and part of tier 2, and that's what was put into the grant. So those are the things that need to get done. And I really hope that we can finish that by everything by the end of December of '26. Now, Shane has some additional things on his list, and that can be done later or in some other way. Some of those things look like, to me, I've seen the list, more what the city would be involved with. One of them has to do with parking, a drop-off zone in front of the library. Janet can even tell you that it's been, 5-6 years ago that from the foundation, that's when I was still on the foundation board, we questioned in terms of just changing the parking because it's difficult at the library. It doesn't meet, code in terms of what can be done there. So that's something that the city needs to address. It's not up to something that's going to come out of this grant. There's a number of different things. One has to do with handicap accessibility, which certainly is very important. We've been trying to get the next thing to be done according to the grant is to address the upstairs bathroom, for that to be accessible. We've been trying to do that for a very long time. And that has been delayed at least 5 months for us to be able to do that. And quite frankly, no offense to Drew, but he kept saying, it's eventually going to be a broom closet, so why do that? Well, it's not a broom closet, it's a bathroom right now, and people need to use it as a handicapped bathroom. The other issue that's on Shane's list has to do with access to the back door. Now, as someone who now uses a cane to walk with, I access the library all the time through that back door. So there's a handicap parking space in the back. I'm amazed if there's anybody else parked back there. I'm the only one, And then I access through that door. It's only a few steps from the handicap spot to the back door. When you enter into the back door, then the lift is right there. And then I use the lift either going up or down. Real simple, okay? We looked actually several years ago at how to change that lift to accommodate motorized wheelchairs, and it cannot be changed. So for that to change to accommodate motorized wheelchairs, the whole thing needs to be changed. The box cannot be made wider. It just won't happen. So it has to stay the way it is. But there's no problem with accessing the library if you have a disability and you are, like myself, using a cane or for having some other way to do that if they just use, the back entrance. Now, the problem with the back entrance is somehow, somewhere along the way, the light that was back there went out. It's not working or whatever. And I had mentioned this, and then I saw where Shane had taken that suggestion and put that in his list. That light that needs to be replaced. That fits into the grant because there's space for electrical. And it should be there because it's very, very awkward. You come out later, particularly you get into winter, you come out at 5 o'clock and it's dark. And believe me, trying to hold on to your possessions, hold on to a cane, and using the flashlight on your phone, it's really awkward. Very, very awkward. And even that, it doesn't work very well. It's also a safety issue. So that's an easy fix. But what I'm getting around to is that the list I have said this, I don't know, 100 times, easy. And I've said this to the library board many, many times. That list that's in the grant is what has to be done. Now, if something can fit into that, like under electrical, like the outside backlight, that will work. But to deviate, you can't do that and have the grant pay for it. So if you decide to deviate, then to answer this gentleman's question, somebody else is going to have to pay for it because it's not going to come out of the grant. And if all the grant funds are not utilized, come December, the end of December of '26, it will just disappear. And with it disappearing, what happens is that we get somewhat of a black mark in terms of not being able to fulfill the contract, not being able to do the work. Just so you know, this grant and the reason why it came to the foundation is the foundation is a private nonprofit. It's a 501c3. Grants just come to 501c3s. They cannot come to the library board. And so that's why it's, sorry about that. Sorry. That's why it came, to the foundation. The foundation is also looking at some other things, other possibilities. Some very possibly could get funded. We're going to have the same, if that happens, we're going to have the same thing again. So it is very important that everybody work together. I know that Mr. Edmonds has said before, you have to work together. Well, we have tried. Now, I know the library board has tried, the Library Foundation has tried, but it's a two-way street. So the library board has to work with the foundation. It's not just the foundation working with the library board. So I can't, not to keep dragging on, but I can't emphasize enough. It's the work that's specified in that grant that has to be taken care of first. And then, if there's some monies left over, so Shane has on a fire suppression system, Lori has already checked with the Department of Economic Development. If everything else is completed and there's still money left, then they would allow for a fire suppression system, but not until all those other things are completed. So it's just imperative that the grant be adhered to and that it be completed on time with not just all the work, but all the paperwork as well, all the paperwork submitted to the Department of Economic Development. Otherwise, it won't fly. And so that's what we need to do. We've already lost 5 months, at least 5 months, on getting that bathroom done. And I would really like to see it done because we've been on to it for several years. So any questions about the grant? I mean,
Going back to the funding and the disbursement of those funds. So if you have the checklist and you get 75% of it done by December of '26, you will get, and as long as all the paperwork's turned in, even though it's not 100% completed, the whole checklist, you will still get the 75% of the funds
Yes.
and lose the other 20?
you would get whatever, in terms of the paperwork, think of it as a reimbursement grant. I mean, it's not totally reimbursement in that there's money that's been provided up front to work with. So it's not just a total reimbursement. But yes, it would be. So they would approve up to that point. You know, and again, it's been suggested also by, oh, you can ask for an extension. No, you can't. Now, sometimes with the Department of Economic Development, you can ask for an extension, but you can't on this one. This is federal funds, it's leftover COVID money that was given to each state, or states that had leftover COVID money, and it was designated for this type of a project. So they don't want it back, the feds don't want it back, nobody wants the money back. They want you to spend it. So, Lori.
Marguerite, would you also tell the council what happens if we do send money back or have to give money back? What happens to our grant opportunities?
So, as I said, yes, right, I'll elaborate on that. Every time you write a grant, I mean, this is what I've been doing for years. Every time you write a grant, a main question that's asked is, what's your experience in handling this type of a grant? What's your experience in handling state funds, federal funds, or funds from a private foundation? You have to be able to answer that. And the other question is, were you able to complete your project on time? Were you able to do all that you said you could do? You have to answer that truthfully. So if we don't finish everything that we said we're going to do, then you have to answer it that way. And you can say, oh, we had this problem or that problem or whatever. But it still comes down to, you know, that answer in just a few short sentences. So in other words, you get a black mark. And it's looked at that way like, maybe you're not so successful as you think you are. So this is the initial grant out. When I was on the foundation board, I heard year after year after year from the library board, I wish there was somebody who would write grants. Okay. Wish there was somebody, does anybody know a good grant writer? I heard that constantly. So we wrote a grant. You know, and then problems developed. So, you know, it doesn't look good that we can't do this together. It just doesn't look good. And it doesn't feel good to have animosity, to have obstruction. It creates a lot of problems. And quite frankly, having, you know, got another one going, and I, you know, only because we were asked to write it, and I really didn't want, to be honest with you, I really didn't want to. And the person who called from this particular foundation said, would you do this? I mean, we knew about the shovel-ready grant, we knew about this and that. And I was like, I really, you know, I didn't say that. I didn't say I don't want to, but who wants this stress? I mean, I don't. So
this doesn't, not to interrupt you.
No, go ahead. No, I can go on and on, so.
This kind of thing doesn't happen. Again, I think it would be good for the foundation to be in constant communications with the library board and how the grant's written.
It has been.
No, I'm saying in the future, on the next.
But it already has been.
They've approved us to apply for this, every grant.
No, I understand, but like as the grant's written and how it's written, just.
But to answer your question, it has been from the very get-go, and the city has been apprised of it. So even to get started, I mean, there was communication with Janet in terms of what was going on. There was communication at the city level, communication at the library level. It wasn't a surprise to anybody that this was taking place. Now, maybe somebody's indicated that it was a surprise, but it was not. And all along, it's Lori Schmidt. I mean, I wrote it, but she's the one who took it from there. She's the one who assisted me all the way, because it was at a very difficult time in my life. And Lori's the one that did all the research, all the groundwork. I mean, she's the one that I would give her a list and say, you know, this is what you need to do. So go over to the assessor's office, do this, do that. And she would do that, and we would get together the next day, and she would have all that work done. She knows this inside and out. She's the one that works with getting all the financials into the Department of Economic Development on that federal accounting system. She's the one that does that along with Rosella Tesh. So they have to do that by the 15th of the month, every month. I'm not involved in that. I wrote it, and it's like, we got it, that's it. So just so you know, if you've been given the idea that the foundation has not tried to work with the library board, that is incorrect. Definitely incorrect, because I have been at some of those meetings. And I've even lined out the budget that was in the grant and those tiers and all the items that were there. I can remember at least 3 times that I met with the library board to outline all that. At least 3 times, if not other times. So we have tried all along to do that. Let's hope that this is changing. I was hoping that you really would have somebody, you would change what's going on here and do this 3-prong committee or whatever to work with the two. Somehow, someone to create an atmosphere of congeniality, workman, you know, leadership, workmen together, working together. So I'm disappointed that you think that it's just leave it status quo and the two try to work together, because it hasn't really been that way. So somebody else could disagree with what I'm saying, I'm sure, but that's the way I see it from the outside. So, and I have tried to meet with the library board at times, various times, but not, I don't go to every meeting because there is no point in it, so.
Well,
Anything
I
else?
think as mentioned here that we'll probably have a follow-up, see what's transpired, and kind of reminded me of early in my accounting career, I went to a seminar down in Oklahoma City, and there were a bunch of us sitting in work, talking about work papers for audits, and in the room next to us, they were pumping up salesmen for, I think it was Armor Foods. But we heard this, I can, I know I can, I will. So let's do it.
Yeah, well, let's do it, right, so, and let's not deviate off that list, at least till get this grant done. Then you can deviate, library board can deviate all they want and find the money all they want for other things. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item F. Someone care to introduce
I'll
that?
introduce resolution 2025-98, move for its approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Shane, second by Kevin, for resolution 2025-98, which is to approve the year-end certification of city street superintendent for 2025 per requirement of the state of Nebraska Department of Transportation. Do we want any other, it's probably pretty well spelled out. We did this a year ago. Anyone have any questions about that?
Not a question, just a, so Dustin has a Class B certification, which then entitles Chadron to $3,000 reimbursement, and with a Class A, it's $6,000, is that?
Yes. That's correct. Yes.
And actually, Dustin's in the process right now of going after his Class A. There's a couple documents that he's got filled out, ready to go, and we have to send in a check for $75.
I believe so.
And then it should be finalized after the first year. So he will be a Class A. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Any other questions? If not, have roll call, please.
Graves,
Yes.
Alexi,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Item G on the agenda,
I'll introduce resolution 2025-99 and move for its approval.
Second that.
motion by Mark, second by Shane. Resolution 2025-99, which is to allow temporary use of US Highway 20 at the intersection of US Highway 20 and Main Street for the 2025 Parade of Lights on December 4th, which is sponsored by Chadron Communications. It's kind of an annual thing. Anybody predict snow on that date?
Hope not.
Well, come on, it's Christmas.
Oh, and
Christmas season.
I don't mind snow on Christmas Eve.
Okay. If no questions, could we have roll call, please?
Graves,
Yes.
Alexi,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
Moving on to item H, city clerk salary and adjusted rate. Mark, you're our spokesperson in this area.
I didn't realize I was a spokesperson. In executive session, we came to a consensus that we would do a 1.5 cost of living increase and a 1.5 merit increase, which then also satisfies state statute for that. Which brings us from $30 to $30.90 per hour. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd second that motion. So motion by Mark, seconded by me for the 1.5 plus 1.5% rate increase.
Is that retroactive to October 1st?
No.
If that was what was in our
Contract.
contract, then yes, then
Contract.
I will amend my motion, which I didn't actually make a motion, I was explaining, but yes,
Yeah.
So that's part of your motion.
that, yes, sir.
Okay, part of my second. Okay, any discussion? If not, could we have roll call, please?
Graves,
Yes.
Alexi,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills as claims as we have presented to us in our packet of information.
I'll second.
Go. Go.
Motion by me, seconded by Kevin.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, Kevin beat me.
By a millisecond.
I have one question here, and Janet probably could answer this. We're paying Cooper Cogdale, and since this is a contract, but I suppose and we don't have the usual resolution and the retainage,
Correct,
and it's because an engineer is not involved?
correct. That's exactly correct,
Okay.
George. And I had him put on his invoice, pay estimate number 1, just so I can track them. So, make sure that, one's following the other, and I'll add everything together. But no, it's because we do not have an engineer involved that we don't have a resolution to pay that claim. It's absolutely correct.
Anyone have any other questions about items on the list? If not, can we have a roll call, please?
Graves,
Yes.
Alexi,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Shepherd,
Yes.
And I'd make a motion to excuse Councilmember Clay Anderson from this meeting. He sent an email that due to family situation, he was unable to attend this evening's meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion by me, seconded by Shane to excuse Clay Anderson. Could we have roll call, please?
Graves,
Yes.
Alexi,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
And public comment period. Anyone wishing to address the council on a matter not on this agenda may now do so. Individuals are allowed a total of 3 minutes to speak. And no takers, okay. Our city manager is not here, but Katie, city clerk, indicated that she has a couple items from.
Yep, Tom just had a couple things. He wanted to remind everybody to keep the trees and the grass cut down and clean up any clutter. If you need the dial-a truck, that is available at 432-0528, and to make sure to unhook water hoses due to the cold weather.
Okay. Council closing comments, and who was voting
Mark.
first? Mark was voting
Starts with me.
first.
Well, hopefully the time change isn't throwing too many people off. I know I got up way too early this morning, but also today I got some Chinese and I opened my fortune cookie, which I never read what it has to say, but it kind of struck me. So it says, a leader is powerful to the degree he empowers others. And then I came across a word that I had never seen or heard of, meliorism. I pronounced that incorrectly, I'm sure. But it is the belief that we can contribute to positively change and improve our world through acts of love, creativity, compassion, and kindness. And I thought those things kind of went hand in hand, you know, whether it's a political leader or a business leader, a leader of a church, a teacher, head of a household. You know, if we can empower and build up the others around us through acts of compassion and kindness, I think that will certainly make a better community or world that we live in. I guess that's all I had.
I don't have any comments this evening, thank you.
Oh, golly. Before we meet again, we'll have Veterans Day. Chadron State College, this coming Saturday on November 8th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., the Nebraska Army National Guard vehicles will be on display at the south entrance of BB Stadium. Veterans will be allowed to join the CSC Spirit Team outside of the southwest entrance at the Shocoin Center during the football game's pregame Eagle Walk. And it's Military Appreciation and Senior Day football game between Chadron State College and Western Colorado. You get to see a local boy play for Western Colorado.
It's doing pretty good this year, too.
So 1 p.m., so keep that in mind. And then the activities on Tuesday, November 11th, Veterans Day. There's a Veterans Day ceremony and Quilts of Valor presentation in CSC Student Center Ballroom. CSC ROTC's Captain Andrew Hunt will provide the keynote address. Cookies and beverages provided while supplies last. And at night, there's a women's volleyball game between CSC and Regis in the Shocoin Center. So keep that in mind. We have sympathy to family and friends of several community and business leaders that have passed away recently. Keep those in our thoughts. Thanks to all those who made Halloween, a fun event, the trunk and treat, and kudos to Shane and Mark for their participation in the chili cook-off at the fire hall. Pine Bow Bazaar is this Friday and Saturday out at the fairgrounds. I think that pretty well gets me. I have on my list the Safeway closing, but it's kind of a sad deal, but it's happening, and we will move on and make the best of it somehow.
We will. We're a strong community. You had mentioned something I was gonna say about Veterans Day coming up, and I wanted to tell everyone that if they didn't know, George is a quilt, was it Valor?
I have received
Quilt
a
Valor,
Quilt of Valor, yes. Yeah.
recipient, which is pretty honorable. And on the chili feed, the cook-off raised $1,200 for the Chadron Fire Department.
Ribbon cutting for the specialty clinic.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow
Wednesday.
is,
Wednesday.
you're right. Wednesday, the 5th, between 11 and 2 at the Chadron Community Hospital is a ribbon cutting ceremony for the new specialty clinic, in case you don't know about it. That's it.
Okay, before we adjourn, I forgot one thing, and Chief is here. November 1st, you're supposed to have all those campers off the street. Come up and give us a what for.
Mayor, Council, Rick Hickstein, Chadron Police Department, 125 Main Street. Yeah, we are working on that, Mayor. I appreciate you mentioning it here for the folks out in TV land, as you call it, because we need to get the trailers moved because snow is going to fly at some point, and we need to have snow removal equipment out clearing those roads for us. So, everybody, if you haven't made arrangements, please get them off. Otherwise, you're going to be being visited by myself or one of my officers. We'll start off with a warning, but if it's a multiple violation, we'll end up writing citations. We don't want to have to do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by Shane, second by Mark to adjourn. Roll call, please.
Graves,
Yes.
Alexi,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Okay.